One of my favorite things about art is how every artist has an art style. An art style can be defined as an artist's techniques and skills that are visibly shown in the way that they create their art. It's a distinct way on how an artist draws, and oftentimes these characteristics or art styles are how others may recognize their works. If you have any favorite artists out there, chances are you can definitely point out their art anywhere because you can recognize the little ways in how they draw. For a lot of us who draws in a more animated type art style like me, we could get a lot of our direct inspirations from the art styles of the anime that we watch. I know for a lot of people, when it comes to the discussions about the animes that we watch and enjoy, a lot of the times the animation and the art style is brought up, and for good reasons too. A lot of popular favorites have extremely distinct and unique art styles that people love and immediately recognize. And then that got me thinking, I kind of want to try and see if I can challenge myself to draw on these iconic anime art styles. I've actually done this twice already, once when I was in high school with my OC Keiko, and then once as a trend on TikTok. But it's been a while and I want to see how well I can replicate these styles compared to my abilities back then. So I asked my Instagram audience which styles they would like to see me draw in, and I chose 4 out of the bunch. So let's get started with the challenge. Alright, so for every one of these drawings, I start out with a red outline. We are starting off with the Demon Slayer or Kimetsu no Yaiba art style. So initially, once you look at the art that's used in the anime, all of the lines or the line art is typically really thick and really bold. What I love about Kimetsu no Yaiba is the different variants of the eye style that you see in the series. However, I'm going to base mine off of Tanjiro's and as well as human Nezuko's to kind of see, hey guys, this is the Demon Slayer art style. When overlooking how I'm doing the line art of the hair, I took inspiration off of different characters such as Muichiro, Inosuke, and Shinobu. I tend to try and use a lot of like very clean movements for whenever I did the line art. When you look at the way that I draw, I usually start from top to bottom, starting off with the head, the facial structures, and working my way down to the bottom to the neck. And after I draw the neck, I'm gonna go ahead and draw the shoulders, the bust, everything else. I went ahead and enjoyed myself in a Demon Slayer uniform because I wanted to make it a little bit fun and in canon to the series itself. When starting off the coloring process, I like to do a gray base, and then what I personally like to do is do a lot of clipping layers on top of that base just so I don't have any of the colors overflow outside of the line art. I'm starting off with the base color for the hair, and I'm gonna go ahead and shade it with a really dark variant of the base color. Now, Demon Slayer is really interesting in the fact that like in their art style, they don't have a lot of highlights, but they do emphasize a lot on the shading. So we're going to go ahead and start the coloring of the eyes, and from what I've noticed when studying Tanjiro's eyes to replicate on my character is that Tanjiro's eyes aren't a perfect circle, and that includes the circle in the middle to highlight his pupil, but that's what makes it really unique. And so I'm gonna try and replicate the coloring style of his red eyes, but translate it onto the brown ones that I'm using for my character. And a really interesting thing about the Demon Slayer uniforms is that you think that it's like a gray, but it's actually a very darker color of different colors. For example, if you look at Tanjiro's, it's like a dark gray red, and for Zenitsu's, it's a dark gray yellow, and then for Gyu's, it's like a dark blue. Now, I didn't really know what to do for the Haori, but I did kind of want to make it a little bit Shinobu inspired, so I went ahead and based it off of the blue butterfly for branding and iconic reasons. Looking back and forth, it looks really great. And then I was like, oh crap, I need to add glasses. Well, I didn't have a good reference because nobody in Demon Slayer actually has glasses. So I just went ahead and gave myself a little bit of glasses just to see how it looks. But honestly, if I prefer it without the glasses. And then this is the final results for the Demon Slayer art style. Next up for this video, we have Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun. And compared to the Demon Slayer one, Hanako-Kun is a lot more round, I feel, and soft. So starting off with the line art and the style, I use Hanako as a reference of the bangs, and for the hair, I use a little bit of reference of Ali as well as Nene. So for the eyes specifically, there's a huge contrast in between the upper eyelid and the lower. For the upper, I'm going to be bolding it a little bit because it's bright and it's thick, and the lower lash is just going to be like, you know, a singular line. And similarly going to be for the eyebrows as well. It's just one line. For the line art itself for the anime, it actually seems like it's a lot. It's not a harsh black like it would be for Demon Slayer, but rather like a dark brown or like a different color that makes it a lot more softer. For the hoodie, I use Mitsuba's scarf as kind of like a guideline to see how it would look in the toilet bomb style. My personal art style has a lot of fluffiness, but as you can see, I kind of had to tone it down because it didn't match with the toilet bomb art style. For the hair, I'm gonna have to keep it straight and slicked back and then tie it into the cute little bun. And then for coloring, I'm gonna go ahead and eyeball the colors again using Hanako. as my main color reference because he has similar hair color to mine. And then we're gonna go ahead and go with the shading. Compared to Demon Slayer, Hanako-Kun kind of has like a lighter type of shading, as you can see for the hair strands. For the face coloring specifically, compared to the Demon Slayer art style where it's flat colors and shading, there's a little bit of red highlights and accents along with the blushes that makes the whole art style of Toilet Bound a lot cuter. And then for the coloring of the eye style, I'm going to be basing it off of, yet again, the main protagonist Hanako, and just kind of see the process of how to color his eyes. And then for the highlights, I originally was going to do it similar to his hairstyle, but I decided to go with something similar to Nene's coloring, and I think it worked out a lot better. And then for the base colors of the hoodie and the scrunchie, I really wanted to do something similar to the same color as Ko's, but I think it didn't really translate well, so I tried to do like the best type of blue that I could, and I think it did work out a little bit. Right? And then I combined all of the layers in the folder a little bit, and then made sure to do like a small outline because I do think it's different compared to the Demon Slayer's outline, but it's kind of like the entire thing is bolded. And then we can't forget about the glasses. Luckily, I have a reference of the teacher for that. And then we add a little bit of finishing touches, and then here we go, the Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun art style. The next series we have is Bungou Stray Dogs. Now it's been a while since I've like dove upon the series, so doing this was a lot harder since for the other series I was a lot more familiar with it, so I kind of knew what I was going. So I kind of had to study the art style a little bit. And for the bangs, I kind of did it similar to Yosano's. The hair can be seen as more visible strands as well as more square rather than pointy. I feel like Bungou Stray Dogs has a lot of emphasis on the details of the hair, and the eye style is also really unique. The art style is a lot more mature. I don't want to say it's sharper, but you can definitely tell compared to like Hanako-Kun, art style is a lot more, I guess, cooler rather than something cute. I just feel like everything is a lot more different here, and it was really interesting to kind of translate with my own hands. And I felt like I was so nervous because the art style is so intricate, and I felt like personally it was pretty hard to recreate. Now for the hair color, I also based it off of Yosano's, and there's a lot of cool shading, very similar to the other techniques that I've used for the other styles, but then the highlights was like a purple color. I feel like the highlights for Bungou Stray Dogs, it's not like a lighter color of the base color, but it's like complemented with the accent of a brighter color rather than a gray or a lighter version of the base color. But this also might just be for Yasana specifically since I used her as a color reference. And I'm gonna go ahead and follow the references to do a little bit of the shading for the eyes and the skin. I really like that for the Bungou Stray Dogs art style that they incorporate a lot of different colors or shades of a color. Like for example, I'm using multiple different shades of brown to make this really cool eye style for the anime. And then I had the same troubles as I did for Toilet Bound in regards to choosing the hoodie color for my character, but I decided to go with this like a little bit more muted light blue rather than a brighter light blue compared to the Hanako-Kun one. And then for the glasses, luckily I referenced Kunikita, so it's not going to be like a circle type glasses like the others, but it's going to be more of a rectangle just so you can get that bottom lens there. You can see a little bit. And with that, here is the finished Bungou Stray Dogs art style. The last art style for this video is going to be Boku no Hero Academia or My Hero Academia. So for starters, I heavily reference Uraraka, and it's because I really wanted to emphasize the fluffiness. I'm very fluffy biased. The fluffiness of her hair, which is going to match my characters. And Horikoshi's art style is really smooth and also pretty round. So I really tried to incorporate these characteristics. And also for the bun, I referenced it off of Himiko's. So I wanted to make everything a little bit more like round and exaggerated, which is why the scrunchie is also pretty big. And for the eyes, I also referenced Uraraka's eyes, but it's also a common theme for the girl characters where the upper eyelid is very bold and there is no visible bottom eyelid, but they are complemented with little lashes. And then I decided I'm gonna draw myself in the UA gym uniform because it's really iconic. And then for the coloring, I am going to do similarly to the other anime styles where we start off with the base color and then go ahead and do the shading. I don't think there is a lot of highlights here, so it's going to be similar to which is just going to be the base as well as the shadows. And then for the eye color, it's just going to be very simple, two-toned as well as the highlights. And then we're going to go ahead and shade and color the UA uniform. And then I made this mistake in not realizing that there's actually no zipper and it's invisible, so let's go ahead and erase those details right there. And then with the glasses, I'm lucky in which I can reference Ida as well as Melissa. So it's going to be the same thing as Kunikita's, where we have the bottom frame, but we have the lens at the very top. So it's not going to be a full visible frame, but it's going to be present. And with that, this is the finished Boku no Hero Academia art style. So like I mentioned previously, this is the first time I've done this in a pretty long time, drawing in other art styles, and actually I think I really liked how these turned out. So thank you guys so much for watching me, and if I ever do a part 2, please let me know which other series I should do next time. Take care!